Welcome everybody to the Thursday Night Forum. We are here and we will be there. We are here as Arsenal Fan Circle, and Arsenal, I believe, will be there at the end. It's an interesting title race now. It's a nuts title race is nuts right now, and the football tonight was crazy. You think Man United are getting hammered, and then they come back to lead 3-2. And then a lot of us said, okay, United, there might be something about this United team. And crazy things happened right at the end. So we want to get into a few things tonight, Stan. We are here, the Arsenal are here, and I believe we will be there at the end, Stan.
What are you saying then? Give me more than that. What are you saying?
I think we're gonna go. We're not going to fall away. You know, the rivals fans want to say they've got us typecast as Arsenal. They'll fall away at the end. You know, the pressure will get to them. I think we'll be in the conversation on the last weekend.
Well, it's Liverpool's to lose at the moment. And if you look at what happened to us last season, getting to around this point of the season, you know, there are those that say that we bottled it or we choked, however you want to frame it. So perhaps, you know, it means that maybe the team that's leading this time round, is there a possibility that the same thing can happen to them?
Yeah.
Well, this is football at the end of the day, and sometimes unexpected things can happen. But I do think it's Liverpool's to lose at the moment, just because they've got their neck in front with only 9 games to go. But we're still in it. You know, we're definitely still in it. You know, if anybody drops points, we need to be ready to gobble up the space that's in front of us and get in there.
Yeah.
And also as well, you know, we're still in with a shout here with the Champions League. So there is still a lot to play for this season by, you know, every means.
Definitely, Stan. And I see Gary's here. He'll join us shortly, I think. Stan, definitely looking at this, and the bookmakers would have had Man City as the favorites, and they probably still are the favorites for the Champions League to repeat again. But just thinking about it, historically, it's not easy to go and repeat, especially in the toughest European competition in the world.
No, and they've also got that other target that they're after of being the first team in the Premier League to get 4 championships back to back. So they've got that as well. I mean, there's so little points between us. I mean, the same way that I was talking about, you know, if Liverpool drop points, we need to be ready to gobble up the space that's in front of us. Man City are going to be doing the same thing, right, with us. You know, if we trip up and we drop points, they're right there. They're right there behind us. There's not a big gap to give us a cushion where we can have an accident and go, oh, okay, the gap's shortened, but we're still 6 points ahead. No.
Yeah, and I think each team, all 3 teams are pushing each other, Stan, as well.
It's good.
Right at the top. You know,
it's good to be in this conversation, you know, where there was once a duo duking it out of the top of the league. We've inserted ourselves into the conversation and made it a 3-way.
I don't know if you've seen Goldbridge lately. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore. I know. I was going to retweet it and just say, no, please, you have to keep doing this, please.
Yeah, but we were there a few years ago.
Mate. His performance art, and I do enjoy watching him. He comes out with some great one-liners.
He does indeed. And then just watching the game and how Manchester United did not defend at that final corner. I don't know if you saw the goal, but
I did.
No picking up at all on the corner in the last kick of the game, last minute of the game.
I mean,
you know,
it was a very chaotic game. The game was chaos because you've got 2 teams that find it difficult to hold a lead, who go expansive, who make mistakes. I mean, Caicedo, he made a terrible mistake, didn't he? I mean, he's the British transfer fee, £115 million they paid for him.
The record.
£115 million, you know? So,
better.
And then you look at Mudryk as well. You add another 89 million there. That's 210 million right there, and they've not really done anything at all.
Yeah.
to show that that price tag is justified. Unlike a Declan Rice, who he slotted right in, and he can everybody can see the difference that he makes to Arsenal.
Doing the business.
Worth every one of those 100 million, those 1
Yeah,
million pounds.
definitely. Declan Rice doing the business. Listen, before you or Gary do it, I'm going to do it as well. I'm going to make the introductions and welcome everybody in. Nigel was here first. Riddy has been here. Canterbury Gooner. Moss Sports World is in the house. BX Gunner, thanks for joining us. Stefan also in here. He's saying 9 games is a lot to go. Can't stand Real Madrid. And who else is in the house? Anyone else? I didn't miss anyone. Gary, thanks for joining. How are you?
Doing good, Ray. How you doing, Stan?
We've had some entertainment tonight with, I was going to say Real Madrid, but
can I just say as well, did anyone know if the celebration police were deployed to Stamford Bridge this evening?
Well,
because I definitely think there was a case there.
Yeah, definitely Stamford Bridge, but also up at Anfield. I always have my eye up there at Anfield as well. And they had a little bit of celebrating going on. I believe they had their Bournemouth moment tonight through McAllister beating lowly Sheffield United. Of course, we were watching. We're rival. We're fighting in this title race alongside City and Liverpool, and we're watching you, Liverpool. And what are we going to take from tonight, Gary? I'm taking from tonight that Manchester United were beaten in such a hideous fashion that they have to save their season again by playing Liverpool on Sunday.
True. And also, City will keep other teams in the game, right? That's what they're, if other teams.
United are just horrible right now, but I believe they'll have a performance at home against Liverpool. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you can hear me because I was talking and then you started talking. I was like, what did I?
No. Go, Gary. You're clear for takeoff.
Okay. No. I was just saying that I think Liverpool, they I guess they start slow and at some point it's going to catch up to them. So, teams have an opportunity, or keep the games close and all of that, but then they can't get that second goal, and I think that's the key. When they don't get that second goal, then they get punished for it later, So,
Gary, Stefan's saying here, there's rumors Ten Hag may be fired tomorrow. Do you think that team is playing for him?
Well, it's hard to tell because he did pull out all of his attacking players that had scored, and they last 10 minutes. He pulled out Varane, Casemiro, Oyland,
Garnacho,
and Garnacho, like the 4 players that probably kept the game the way it was. Whether they couldn't go for the extra 10 minutes of, for the whatever 20 minutes or so that they needed. But it's
ale.
Yeah, it's an ale. It's a Boddington's. I know it's not. I know I shouldn't drink Boddington's, but I like Boddington, so it's hard for me to just, There's probably there's other drinks close to Boddington's, but I don't have them here, so I have to go to England to get them. I think.
So, Gary, how are you living and breathing this title race now? I find myself thinking about Arsenal a lot of the time now, Gary.
One game at a time. I've been saying that, and I'm going to stick to that because there's not much more we can do. Right? We went out there, we won our game, so the other teams had to win their games to keep up, right? And they did. So everybody's caught up and ahead of us. So just one game at a time. We got our next one is Brighton. Brighton, we know, could be a good or bad team depending on the day. So yeah, just one game at a time. We can't, as Stan said, we have to be there when everybody else falls off. One way to do that is just play it one game at a time and win our next game, and we'll be fine. Yeah. Yep. And I know people are saying, "Oh, but you look back at that City game, and that was the key." Well, if we had won that one and then have to continue to win the next 9, we said that's like 18 games in a row. That's asking a big a lot. Even though we did 8, I think it was 9. It's just one step better. So you know what? Why not just go on a 9-game winning streak if we have to? But like I said, 1 game. We've already done 8, so 9 is
we did 8 in a row. Then we drew it with City at the weekend, and now we've just had our 9th win in the league in 2024, unbeaten in 2024, and going into April, Stan.
It's a great record to have.
Yeah.
But just rewinding back just a little bit before I left it for a moment of Chelsea and Man United, I honestly think that these two clubs, I always talk about the wheel. It's like a wheel; it turns towards clubs, and then they have their turn, and it turns away. It's going to be ages before the wheel comes back round to Chelsea and Manchester United. It doesn't matter how much money they spend.
Yeah,
I mean, they've tried every kind of manager, from players that play for the clubs, to international managers, to managers that have come with a CV full of trophies, and they just can't seem to get it right. And Eric Ten Hag, for me, is the manager that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. I look out for his press conferences, because it is pure delusion, isn't it? What's going on in that guy's mind? He said today that that he felt that Man United deserved to win. On what basis did he? Where? Why?
They had it. They had it in their grasp.
But they didn't deserve to win. They played awful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or because they were ahead, it doesn't mean they deserve to win. They were
right.
awful. But anyway, I just wanted to get that in. So back to Arsenal.
Sure.
Yeah.
How are you living and breathing? How are you doing it, Stan? Are you taking one game at a time?
Yeah, like Gary, I take it one game at a time. We've got as well. We've got the Champions League. There's a lot to play for.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm of this. I'm not going to be sort of like headbutting the wall if we don't win the league this season, because I still think personally, and it's just my opinion, that we're just still a couple of pieces, maybe about 3 or 4 pieces that we need to really help us, to win this league. I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's definitely within our hands. We're definitely in that conversation. And as I say, if Liverpool fall away and we continue and we take advantage of that, we can do it. But I wouldn't put a bet on it right now. I wouldn't personally.
No, we're going week by week, and we said this, I think, on Sunday or last Thursday.
I'm willing it to happen.
We couldn't put our mortgage on this thing. We couldn't put our house on this thing because we could be homeless. Who knows what happens? For me, I'm looking at Arsenal, and you look at all the metrics, and everything points to Arsenal having the perfect season. All of the metrics point in our direction. Raya has just collected a 13 clean sheet out of 20 some games. Where are we now? 28 games, 30 games. Sorry, 13 clean sheets out of 30. Didn't even play all of the games. We've scored the most goals. We conceded the least amount of goals, and we haven't conceded but 4 goals, I think, all year. You look at Man City and you know what they can do, what they're capable of doing, and they're up for a four-timer, which is very formidable. And then you look at Liverpool, who seem to be a little bit like Arsenal last season. They're going on vibes. They're living off of the Anfield crowd. But I will tell you, they only have 3 more home games now. After this game, they have 5 away games, so that maybe tips in our balance. But I could not say I've just called out Arsenal, City, and Liverpool, the pros and cons. I still can't call this thing, Gary.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's gonna be it's a marathon, right? You can lose it in the beginning if you want, but you can always recover. At the end, it might be a little late if you start moving up. So just take it, like I said, 1 mile at a time. We've got 8 miles left, right? In this this race.
But
I mean,
talking about we're talking about what's his name? Bridge. What's the guy's name? Goodbridge. Goldbridge. I'd still rather be an Arsenal fan than a United fan right now, Gary, and they're paying for the sins of their past under Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. Well, I think they have, we always talk about having a plan from the top down. to some degree, like however high it needs to go, but they don't necessarily have one of those because each one of their managers and then the people that are working with them never on the same page. I mean, we're seeing it even right now. I don't think, I mean, definitely with Chelsea, but with Manchester United seems the same thing. How did Ten Hag all of a sudden not know how to coach anymore? You know what I mean? Like, was he not doing a good job before? Was Ajax not doing well with him at the helm?
Yeah.
Like that one's surprising because
Do you think it's more about the
if
fit sometimes, not necessarily about the actual tactics and the training, but about the warmth or the lack of it or the personality, and it doesn't quite fit? Do you know what I mean? Maybe
but
a
at
little
some
bit like
point,
a good example, Unai Emery with us wasn't the
well,
right
I
fit.
just
Players.
think at some point United has gone through how many managers now? As you said, all with different kind of pedigree, right?
A
All
football
with
team.
he's like the youngest one in terms of his name in the game, right? Like he's one of the younger ones. All the other ones
Solskjaer was
have
pretty new.
established. They
Yeah.
all had established careers that I knew of. Ten
Mm.
Hag, I didn't know anything about him until they picked him up. So that might mean he's he's
Ralph
still a little bit
Ragnick.
of a.
Yeah.
But he
Ralph
wasn't.
Ragnick.
Yeah, but he had a name coming in.
Solskjaer.
Some people even thought he might coach, right, and manage the team. So with that kind of
He got fucked up
qualifications,
though, didn't he? He's
and
coming in like to wear a suit as a board of directors, and he turns up on his first day and they handed him a tracksuit and some boots, and you're training.
yeah.
Coach,
Taking the first training.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I think from the top down, however high it needs to go. Like for us, I don't think ours go. I don't think our like from the top down goes from stand down. I think it's just maybe a little bit above, um, above
His son,
Josh.
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 Right?
Yeah. So I think it might be a little bit lower. So I think we've got a plan and we've been sticking to it, and no matter what, we just stick to it. Like I think that's the problem. Everybody wants a quick fix, right? Our quick, it always takes takes a little time to get your bearings, right? When we took it, I think I remember. I definitely remember saying this. We won whatever number of games, and I said, guess what? Next year we're probably going to win probably more games, but it won't matter because everybody else is increasing and everybody else is more established and everybody else has been playing together.
Yeah,
That's essentially what happened, right? You expect us to
Yeah.
get better. We got better as a squad, but because we're still playing catch up, it doesn't look like it at the end of the day when you look at the table. But we've been playing better football every year. Arteta's been here. He's
Yeah.
gradually getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen them kind of go crazy
sounds
in
like you're
COVID
trusting
time.
the process, Gary.
In COVID time, when I've been saying this all along, they want us to wait, but I didn't want to.
Goes like, fuck that, I want it now.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Look,
fans,
Gary,
right?
This
Well,
is sustained success.
Yeah, no.
Right?
But my what I wanted was this. I wanted more experienced coaching with the ability to know that they're not going anywhere if they don't win a trophy, for example. Whereas I think if you bring in a more established manager and for some reason they don't win, people want to kick them out, right? And I don't think that's the way it should have worked. It should work. Like if you can see the growth as a squad, in your squad, then you just let it. You let it go. No, I was definitely
Yeah.
Arteta out, and it was
I
all
think Brownie.
because of inexperience. That's all it was.
I thought you were Arsenal in. You
It
were
was
neither
Arsenal. I was
Arteta
Arsenal
in.
in, but I wanted a manager with experience. I didn't want to. He's training on the job. He's learning every time he steps out there.
And look, we all recognize it was. We had the first 6 months. We got the FA Cup, and not to rewrite history because Tony's not here. We could only do that when Tony's here.
Well,
it was bad. It was bad at the start. It got to a really low point, and then we slowly started climbing in that season, and we rose from eight to fifth to second, and now here we are in the second season of a title challenge against, the champions who are Man City, and Man City have forced us. They forced us to be this good, this soon. Stan, following up from what Gary said, we are better this year than last year, right?
Yeah. Well, last year we came out the blocks. We held the top of the league for like a record. It doesn't matter if you can't be there at the end. And so this time at the beginning, remember there was a bit of a patch this season where there was a little bit of a worry about us not scoring goals. Remember,
We
there
lost
was a
2
blip.
games.
Where was that again? You got a good memory for these things.
Between Christmas and New Year's, we lost 2 games.
And people were saying
West
it was
Ham
there was a lot
Fulham.
of conversation, wasn't there, about needing a striker, not scoring enough goals. And then when did they go to Dubai? Was it after that?
January 7th, when Liverpool smashed and grabbed us in the FA Cup.
Well, I don't know where they went. I don't think they went to Dubai. I don't know where they took them. Like, I don't know. Somewhere where there's like witches that have potions and stuff, because they came back.
A hidden land, yes.
Yeah, they went to parts unknown, and they came back, and like they were just firing on all cylinders, and it really seemed to help. And
exactly.
We had that blip, didn't we, away at Porto. So this is another thing that does really worry me about going forward with the rest of the season. And I've said it a few times, that I felt that blip at Porto, I felt that some of these players were really look, they let the occasion get on top of them a little bit, and that's why we didn't put it all together there at Porto. Because when we came back from Porto, we went straight back into winning again. It wasn't like it was a blip. We're going, we were going through a bad patch. It was like business back as usual. So what I'm saying is that as we go further now and get deeper into the Champions League, big away days. I mean, we're going to have a big one over there in Germany at their stadium, right? So, so I'm really hoping that the players can start to get used to that a bit quicker, because it might mean that we're going to have to be constantly fighting to pull games back at the home leg.
Yeah, and maybe our players had a little bit of imposter syndrome. This first time in the Champions League for many, many years, and feel like an away game at Porto, where, let's face it, other than Copenhagen, we got the best draw that we could have against Porto. There was other teams out there that would have represented bigger danger to us, and we maybe felt that pressure a little bit, that we needed to get through this knockout stage and then really have a go at it in the quarterfinals. What do you think, Gary, about Porto previously? Does that make sense to you, or is it? How do we explain losing? I mean, I think we would have happily taken a 0-0 draw, but they scored within the last 20 seconds of that game.
Well, that's the thing. You gotta run through the tape, and we didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were more on in the City game in terms of like our defensive intensity was on pretty much the entire game, and Porto basically showed you, look, you have, until that whistle blows, you got to play through it, you got to run through the tape basically, because you will get, especially if you don't score, you need to score, right? So I think that's the thing there. So I think we learned that. And also, it's another thing for me. We still have that. We need to be clinical kind of thing. We still have to do that because we are getting opportunities. And like, I would get it if they were on target sometimes, but sometimes they're not even. A goalkeeper on the other end is like, I don't have anything to do here sometimes because our balls aren't even, at the goalkeeper, and they're making saves or stuff like that. So I kind of feel like that's something we still have to work on. Because you saw it in the City game, right? We had opportunities. Some of them didn't even make it on target, right? The goalkeeper was stopping them, and they were not even in between the posts. So
we had a little bit like the Aston Villa away game. We had opportunities, but we didn't take them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we lost that game 1-0. What? Because we were defensively sound against Man City. One thing I didn't mention on Sunday was Haaland's fresh air shot right at the end of the game. We were quite lucky there, even though Raya had made himself big on the angle. Haaland missing that chance is not like him. Moss said, Mr. B on the Man United agenda, he was rocked twice on Room. He said he'd done with them too, United divided. We've been there as Arsenal fans, and Stan's talking about the cycle of being a supporter. Your team gets good, and if you're lucky, you have sustained success and your teams get revived every 5 or 6 years if your club is managed correctly. Other times, you can be a Man United and sink slowly out of it. And Chelsea, will Chelsea ever be back to where they were under Roman Abramovich? Don't you mention Ole after his time at Cardiff? I'm quite happy actually to see Chelsea fade away. I thought that would happen, and but I didn't think their demise would be as dramatic as we're seeing right now, Gary. Pochettino. We know what Pochettino did at that team. He got them to a certain level, but was never able to get them over the line.
Yeah.
And we're seeing something with Chelsea as well. But that Palmer is a pretty decent player as well. Ragnick didn't hold back the truth about that club, man. Spoke facts.
Can I just say that with Pochettino, he couldn't get Tottenham over the line, and obviously, there's an argument to say that there was a lack of investment. But now he's at a place where he can't get the team over the line, and there's an abundance of cash swishing around.
Yeah, he can't say that he doesn't have a few 100 million players at his disposal, and even 80 and 90 million. So yeah, that's very true.
The most expensive transfer in English Premier League history plays a mid-table team. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, you don't have to make it up. It's happening in real life here. Lamazia, Moyes, and Wenger trained and made Pep look good. Yeah, look, United have gone through about 8 or 9 managers now. They could probably field a team. So we'll look ahead a little bit later, but that's the fixtures to the remainder of the season for us. But we'll look into that a bit later. Want to get to the Luton game now, and Gary, I thought we rotated quite heavily. Needed to, I feel, as well, and got the job done with very little fuss or commotion, which is what we need with 8 or 9 games to go.
Yeah, well, with the rotation for sure, it was a game that they didn't really threaten us as much.
Can I ask you though, was you nervous when you saw the lineup with that much rotation, or was you like,
I've been asking for it for a very long time. So for me to say I would be concerned, we needed to do it at some point in these last 9 games.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't know if we have a chance to do another one, but we know some. But I feel like Partey coming back, Tomiyasu coming back. We know at least our defense should be stout, right? The problem is that front line. Like if Saka, he sat out, supposedly he's back practicing again. So if that's true, then I think we're okay there. But those guys going to have to go, and we're going to need some of those players that played, against Luton to work out for us. Be it Nelson, ESR,
Partey.
Well, no, Partey. I always thought Partey can give us 10, 20 minutes in a game, will be fine.
Yeah.
Right. And Tomiyasu expected that.
Eddie
who?
Eddie who?
I want success for him, but
not at the detriment of points.
Well, no. But at some point we're gonna need to depend on our bench again, right? Yeah. So if Arteta has some faith in him, then he needs to repay it. But he's not doing that. No, Reece Nelson hasn't been getting a chance. ESR gets all the chances, and he's hurt the most. It's like, huh?
So look at the banner down there. Where do we see a gap in the fixtures that we can do this?
He's been fit. He's not been injured for 18 months. He just hasn't been selected.
Yeah.
Eddie?
No, ESR.
Yeah.
Oh, Smith Rowe. Yeah.
He's been out of injury for about 18 months.
Yeah.
It feels like he's been injured longer, right? But he hasn't. It's just that he hasn't been selected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Milsrif Rowe for me looked good yesterday. For someone who had been out for a bit. What he was, contributed to the 2 goals that we scored, right?
Absolutely.
We don't get that. He turns the ball over in midfield and makes the pass up to Havertz, and then Havertz and Ødegaard do their thing, and then he makes that cross, which would have been behind anyways, but because it was a cross in front of the goal, sometimes good things happen. You know, and that's the thing. We don't put balls in dangerous areas sometimes, so we never see stuff like that, right? Because the ball never makes it there, but it did in this scenario. If he lets it go, then I think Nelson is able to drag that foot and get it in. But
Yeah.
you know, it didn't.
Can I
didn't
ask you
matter.
as well then? So if he's starting for you, ESR, where do you put him? What is his role and his job for you?
That
Where
was the perfect position for me. Left 8 right there. You know. So he's going to share minutes maybe with Declan Rice or whoever's going to play that left 8 position. Because we assume maybe Partey is going to be the 6 and moving forward a little bit with Rice and Erdegaard. So for me anyway, Gary, Emile Smith-Rowe left 8 and he played well there.
Yeah, I mean,
last night.
I wasn't. I don't think any of us. Well, at least I haven't been too impressed with what Havertz has done there, and I think ESR can do at least similar. You know, when he's at his best. So, and we know we can get a little bit more out of him. We saw it. You know, yes, it was against Luton, but it's still. You know, if you're giving him late minutes in a game like that, you probably can get hopefully similar results. So yeah, no, I mean, Arteta, like I said, based on what we see, Arteta really wants Emile Smith-Rowe to be healthy and ready to go. Nelson, not so much. Nketiah, not so much. I mean, did Vieira? Did Vieira?
He was on the bench, but he didn't get on.
All right, so there you go. So like, what you know,
Like
He may not be quite there.
this should have been a game that he
usually
comes on for a bit.
Usually, we're in the pecking order of late. Teabag's been getting the nod ahead of an ESR, and ESR's the one that's still waiting to get the minutes, but he seems to have switched that around. Don't know if it's a fitness thing or whatever with Teabag. I don't know, but
he did say Emile Smith-Rowe had been training really well, like an animal. Yeah, training
which to me means
like
that Vieira, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Nketiah,
Nelson to an
aren't-
extent.
Nelson.
Nelson aren't
We're not.
doing the
Yeah.
practice. They aren't
Yeah.
practicing the way they need to make
Right.
it easy for him to go. I can bring you on. All right.
Well, look, these are the Foggin standards, isn't that what we say? These are the
Nelson
standards.
started, right? Because in
Nelson and
ESR's
ESR.
post-match interview, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, he was kind of saying like, these players like myself who haven't had a lot of minutes, when we do get the opportunity, it's up to us to try and make the manager think about us. I'm kind of paraphrasing. So do you think of those ones which we consider the second string, of those 5 that came into the team, was there anyone there that gave the manager something to think about?
Well, Emile Smith-Rowe, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It'd be hard to push to say Zinchenko or Nelson did anything that would move the needle.
Because Zinchenko seems to be down the pecking order, doesn't he? A little bit to me.
I mean, we need that to continue. We can't start in these big games down here with Zinchenko and having that propensity to concede a goal again, because we've done this for half the season. The first half of the season, we were conceding goals with Zinchenko playing out of that left back position, So for me, Kivior is the player that has locked down the position. Tomiyasu, another one, that can play there. But I don't know where we find the game for Zinchenko again. And look, I've been a big supporter of Zinchenko, but I've seen that he can leak goals. We can leak goals in that position,
If we need to change up to hopefully create situations where we can score a goal, we're going to have to bring in players that can do that. Supposedly that's what he can do. And if that's the case, then, those are the type of games that he would come in late, in games to help us try and get that goal to either take the lead or to at least get the draw, Because if you're already, for example, if you're losing, you're losing. But if you're able to put some players on to give you maybe that extra, whatever you need to get the goal out of it, then, I think you have to do that. You can't be doing the same thing over and over again with the same players. And even if you switch it up with how they're playing, and it's still not working.
And
bench is for.
I think we've built this team in a way that we are going to be defensively sound. So these 8 league games, we're going to try and not go a goal down at any stage here and keep it tight and be able to rely on our forward power to get the goals for us, because we're going to have to win 7 or 8 of these last 8 games. City are going to do it. Liverpool look like they're going to do it, although I think and hope that Man United on Sunday will be motivated to stop Liverpool on Sunday. Emile Smith-Rowe was a breath of fresh air. Had a goal and assist, and he reminded me a little bit of Jack Grealish, the way he's able to carry the ball. Huh?
He didn't get a goal.
No, he didn't have a goal and assist. But I think in the hockey, ASR had a goal and assist in National Hockey League scoring, but not really. Moss leading me astray. Luton were a championship side yesterday.
Looking at Emile Smith-Rowe, do you think that he's a player that's going to be sold in the summer? Because as I've mentioned, he's been fit now. I mean, he's had his injury problems without a doubt. And there was a time when Mikel Arteta looked like he was on the precipice a little bit with his job security. He was coming off the bench and doing some good things and scoring some important goals. But he's been back for 18 months and he's not really had, even off the bench, right? He's not been a regular coming off the bench. So do you think he's got a future? And his performance today was okay. He got rewarded for it with a man of the match. Maybe if he continues to put in appearances and performances like that, maybe the club may change their mind on him. But I'm a little bit of misfit. I don't mind us selling him. If we do sell him, there's 2 conditions. We get the right price, and we also, the person that comes in is an upgrade. I don't mind upgrades because it means we get better.
It's going to be hard to upgrade on Emile Smith-Rowe if he's fit, and because if he's fit and he's playing, he's going to do well for you, Emile Smith-Rowe. And maybe he's not the first 11.
And Arteta, isn't it? So if they're making the right moves, if they can't find anyone better, why would you sell him then?
Yeah, you're looking at building your depth up now, and if he's not going to start games, he's a really, really strong option to come off the bench and get games for you in rotation, because it's no longer a first 11. You have to look at a first 20 right now.
Agreed.
Well, if that's the case, then he's not there yet. He's not part of our first 20 right now.
Emile Smith-Rowe,
match fitness, isn't he? For
sure. There 8 other players that you would put in front of him on the bench?
We might not have some of those 8 that you're talking about. That's why I'm saying we might have to, like, we don't have somebody behind Saka, so that's 1 player. We're gonna have to go get a goalkeeper. That's another player, right? Everybody's thinking we're gonna get a striker, 3rd player, right? So I kind of feel like you start adding it all up. I don't know if he's there yet. Because if you think
apparently, according to Mikel Arteta, we're going to see Kai Havertz play on the right at some point. He said that in his a post-match interview with Harry Semiu. He said to him, "Has your plan changed for Kai Havertz since you bought him?" And he says, "Well, he can play in a variety of positions. He can play as a 9. He can play as a 10. He can play as an 8, and he said he can play as a 7."
So he's giving him all the forward.
I just feel like why did you play him at an 8? Because he's not anywhere near close to any kind of. He's not an 8 for us, anyways.
Yeah.
So I felt like he just that was a waste, and that was a lot of the minutes that he had in the early part of the season was at that 8 position while they were still filling things out. So,
I mean, he's saying he can do it. It wouldn't be his optimum position.
Right now, there isn't one.
The 9.
Yeah, but he's not. Is he a 9?
Well, that's
No. Is he a 9? Like, can we can do better than that, right? We're gonna go out there and spend money to get what? What position are we gonna get out there?
We can get a better 9, Gary.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So he hasn't established. He hasn't Arteta's still thinking about who's gonna fill that spot. Is what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think.
Welcome back, Tiger.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that I always said I'll wait till next season to see what he does, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what position he's gonna play. Is he gonna be that jack of all trade? And just move around when we need
That
him to.
that
where,
seems to be the way we've been building this team. That we
so then
have
he's not like
players.
for me. Like we're playing City or Real Madrid. He's not our starter. It's kind of the thing.
But Gary, Arteta wants our rival teams to be thinking the same way we are. We don't know where they're going to
We
play.
know what our like right now. We know at least 9 spots right now.
Sure, but you don't know
that
the
are-
positions in some of them.
No, we do know the positions of those 9.
Not so in some
Our
of them.
back
Not.
line right now, right? We know 2 of our middle 3 right now. If Jorginho, if Partey is healthy and playing optimal, he'll probably start over Jorginho, right? Right? And
Yeah.
Saka and Martinelli, right? So we've got, depending on how we're playing, if we need 2 8s, right? We don't have that other 8.
We've seen Martinelli come in on the right, Gary, in the last 2 games as well.
No. I'm talking about our number 1. Like here is our best 11.
Martinelli
best
is our
11
number 1.
Exactly. So our best 11 is probably about 9. We got 9 spots filled.
Right. But I'm saying as substitute when Martinelli came on at Man City and against Luton, he filled in the right wing spot.
No, that's good and all, but that's not what I was talking about.
Okay, but it's good to have flexibility. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think that's the one thing he hasn't done for Saka, right? Saka's always played on that same position, has never really got to see the field from a different position, which I think sometimes, shakes the cobwebs out when a player is sitting on the same side playing over and over again. As young as he is, I think it.
Do you remember Saka initially started on the left? Remember?
Yeah, left back, left wing. Yeah,
on the
played
left.
in central midfield for one game.
And then I think it was Arteta that switched him to the right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Martinelli's our left, Saka's our right. We need to find one guy between them, all right? We need to find somebody behind Saka.
I think that Arteta can probably give Tuchel some fits about our lineup and some tactical nuances that managers have not seen before. But I take what you're saying, Gary. Definitely, Martinelli at right doesn't quite suit us.
We can put out an 11 for one game, and they play one way, and we can put that 11 out in another game, and they play slightly different. Like in one game, you may have Odegaard coming a lot more deeper, but then you have other games like against Luton, where he's almost like a second striker. So we're playing like in a 4-4-2.
Odegaard ended up as the 9 in that move when we transitioned on Luton for that goal. People were criticizing Gabriel Jesus for playing left back at times against Man City, and sometimes Jesus was in the left 8 position. I don't want to tout that too much because I know Stan's been mentioning that, but that's the flexibility that our players are showing now. You know, and like I said, I don't know what City are going to do. You have to expect they're going to win the majority of their games going forward. I see Liverpool wobbling a little bit today. They wobbled against Sheffield United a little bit. They needed a Bournemouth moment to win the game for them.
What do you mean a Bournemouth moment? I didn't see the match. What do you mean by that?
So McAllister scores a rocket in the 76th minute.
Probably about
20, like Nelson.
Probably about 28 feet from the goal.
28 yards.
Outside the box,
Yeah, and they were struggling at that time, Gary, right?
Yeah.
Sheffield United had just equalized through an own goal. So they were staring at a point at Anfield in the 76th minute, and I know that's 20 minutes from the end of the game, but you're still getting a little bit desperate at that point. It's Sheffield United, the top team versus the bottom team, and you're not supposed to drop points at home.
And if you're Sheffield United and something like that happens to you, you could probably be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then that's it. Now you're done for the rest of the day. You're having a laugh.
It's an absolute
all over them. They can do that. Fuck it.
He scored an absolute belter. So fair play to them. Teams will do that, but I see it catching up to them. I see they have a 2-point lead over us. But if we hang in there and keep winning games and put pressure on them, and going to Brighton is going to be important. Go there and get 3 points and put the pressure on Liverpool when it comes to Sunday, a big game at Old Trafford, because Manchester United supporters are going to demand a performance again against Liverpool, much like the FA Cup game where they beat Liverpool. And Liverpool are going to be looking for revenge. So that's going to be a very, very good game, I think, on Sunday. Maka makes all teams better.
What ground is it at?
It's at Old Trafford.
Okay.
So Liverpool have tough games coming up. They have to play Fulham away from home, Everton away from home.
Form has dropped now, hasn't it? Fulham. They seem to have dropped their form.
Yeah, they're good at home, though. So it's going to be difficult to pick up points away from home. And this weekend, we've just come through this midweek where Man City have annihilated Aston Villa with Foden scoring 3 goals. A little bit to the point of why Arsenal played the way Arsenal played to get a draw. Unai Emery rocks up to Manchester City, tries to play an open game and gets beaten 4-1. So, I think that point is very well. I think it's a good point, Gary, that we got.
Well, I mean, it's also one of those things, right, where like I said, I think some people don't think we were playing for the win. We put ourselves in positions to get a goal, or 2 or 3.
Yeah,
we weren't clinical with our shooting and all of that, and we missed those opportunities, and they got nothing. Right, which is what we like, right? They got 1 shot on target in 2 games against us. To say that we didn't, have an opportunity to win those games, we put ourselves in good positions, and we needed some luck, right? We got luck in the first game, and the second game we didn't get really any luck. Ball didn't fall in the right spots for us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or deflected and any of that kind of thing. So, we needed to do it ourselves, so we couldn't do it ourselves. So, you put yourself in some good situations, and then good things happen to you, right? The ball just falls to you. So that didn't happen enough for us in that game. I think we concentrated on making sure that we weren't going to get beat by them.
Very important, because right now, if we'd have lost to City, we'd be behind them as well with 8 games to go.
Yep.
And it would be looking like a bigger task at hand. And whilst we have to thread our way through this schedule here, Brighton away, Aston Villa, Wolves, Chelsea, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Man United, and Everton. We're doing it 1 point ahead of City and needing to follow suit and chase Liverpool down. And now comes the away games as well. So this weekend. So just one final point on the Luton game. We did it with Rice. Saka needed the game off as well from what happened.
Before you do that, can I say something about the Man City draw with us?
Yeah.
Because I think that if there's ever been a bigger argument or case study for why we need to do something different through the middle, maybe invest in that area, is, as Gary says, people are trying to make out that we just parked the bus and we weren't going for it, and it was just like, as long as they don't score, then we're fine. But as Gary rightly pointed out, we had a few opportunities where we could have scored. Yep. Two really good ones from Jesus, and he had some other opportunities. And I think that that's a big argument for me of maybe if we make an investment into that area, when we get to big games like this against the Man City at their place, and we do get those opportunities that will fall to a player, that they've got something more about them to be able to make the most of that chance.
Yep.
We need those kind of players, and that's what we don't have.
Yep. 100%.
We almost like it's. I actually have the game playing right now, and there was a ball that fell to Partey, and he can't. I don't know if he's healthy if he gets there, and
the Luton game.
If he's healthy, if he gets to that ball faster,
gets on the end of it.
Yeah, but the defender actually kicks it off of him essentially.
But
And
Rusty, maybe by playing in that Luton game, in the next game, he will get to that ball because he played in the Luton game. Do you know what I mean? Because he's very rusty.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for sure. No, he definitely. I think every time he goes up, I think he should play every game. Not necessarily start, but he should be part of every game we play. You know, especially like because I don't think Jorginho is going to give us 90 minutes, and I don't think we want to put that on his plate, right? So,
yep.
You know,
like so they can share the load. Partey and Jorginho can share a load. Declan Rice and Emile Smith-Rowe can share a load because with Emile Smith-Rowe in this game against Luton Town, Declan Rice took the night off. You know, didn't have to play. He might have come on. I'm not sure if he came on a little bit later in the game.
He came on
just to keep the legs going. But
he came on for Partey.
This was a very calm 3 points for us that we're probably not going to see for the rest of the season. Whilst Man City had to push a little bit, they got a little bit of a scare with Aston Villa scoring. True. They had to push on the gas a little bit, and Liverpool had to do that tonight as well. So,
I mean, I was just gonna say hopefully at some point we can actually take off Saliba or Gabriel. That's where we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we can sub everywhere else on the pitch, but at some point we really need to be able to pull those guys out of games and let them, you know, prepare.
Who goes in their place?
Kiwior or Tomiyasu or White. I mean, depending on how, because we, you know, if Tomiyasu and.
But do you really want to do that now? It's like the last 8 games.
I just, like I said, I hear all of that, but
we put out a Gabriel mega legs and we put in a Kiwior, which is kind of his position, but he's been playing at left back, and then there's no he hasn't got a relationship with Saliba. There's a bit of miscommunication. The ball doesn't get passed in the right way, and we're 1-0 down. Do you know what I'm getting at?
You're missing what No. See, now you've taken what I said and went to like the worst extreme. We're not putting them in a 0-0 game.
But that's what I do, Gary.
What I'm saying is, I would like for them to be able to come out of games because we're up 4-0.
Okay.
Maybe we lose the clean sheet.
I see.
But
I see what Gary's saying.
No.
Make them one of the 5 subs when we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up.
No. When I say this, I mean there's a reason why they can come out of a game. They can't come out of a City game when it's 0-0, right? That's never going to happen. Ever. So
welcome, Michael. Thanks for joining us. Partey and Rice playing together this weekend. I think we've primed Partey to do this.
But look, if they do that, then you think Jorginho doesn't play against Bayern Munich?
I think Jorginho has a part to play. He's going to split time.
No. We're going to be pulling out Saliba, are we? Last season we didn't have him. Everyone says, well, we didn't win the league because of Saliba, so we can't pull him out. Do you know what I mean? I think we have to play them both until they die.
I think
that's my problem. Is like I don't want them dying on the pitch. Yeah.
Partey, we've been hoping for this from Thomas Partey. He took months and months to get back into the team. So we got to be to the point of where we thought he would never see him for the rest of the season.
Think about it. You have Partey, Jorginho, and Emile Smith-Rowe, right? Yep. All between the 3 of them can give you essentially the 90 minutes that you need to get it to see out of a game, right?
Yeah.
Because at some points, like Jorginho and Partey can play, and if that doesn't happen, then you can bring in Emile Smith-Rowe and push Rice back to the 6, right?
Yep.
So we have different ways to get to at least get the midfield outside of outside of Erdegaard, some rotation and getting accustomed to playing with the number ones.
PRO, so that's Partey, Rice, and Erdegaard midfield, a guaranteed win. And the thing with Partey as well, he gives you an extra 3 or 4% of security of a guaranteed 3 points, and every percentage point that we can get with these last 8 games are going to be impossible.
He will. The one thing that he does that we don't see much of is he's fine to go into the middle of the pitch where all the craziness is, where all the defenders are standing.
Yeah.
And he's good. Good to receive that ball and turn on the half, make a half turn and stuff like that. Which you know, Rice
Pass
is still.
resistant.
I think Rice is still figuring that one out.
Yeah. Although he's
So
acquitting
They're very
himself quite well in
they're
midfield.
very
Yeah.
different, right? You know, with Partey, he can be deep in the on the field and ping a pass. And that's the way he will sometimes like to move the ball up the pitch. Whereas Declan Rice, he's a ball carrier.
yeah.
He gets the ball up
Yeah.
the pitch by running with the ball up. So they have
Mhm.
very different styles, but they can obviously complement each other so well because you know Declan Rice isn't shy going up into that 8 position. And
No.
I think
He likes it.
Thomas
Enjoying
Partey's
it.
not afraid of going into that position. So
Yeah.
it kind of maybe could bamboozle the opposition because they don't know who they're supposed to be on if we can get it
Yeah.
going right.
Yeah, he's enjoying it for sure. Brighton at home have lost only one game at home, so this represents, although Brighton have not been playing very well lately. Uh, I saw De Zerbi celebrating the 0-0 draw at Brentford, so I tweeted that he was twerking a little bit for the Klopp, very much a Klopp celebration. 1 point at Brentford, but I think physicality comes into this one, Gary, when we're talking about Brighton. The Seagulls might not be the game for Jorginho. Keep him fresh for Tuesday night. So Jorginho is probably more suited to the Champions League game with Bayern next Tuesday, I think it is. At Brighton, Partey and Rice could be that midfield base to be able to be physical against a Brighton team that's going to be wanting to get some points on the board at home. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
so I think it might be the way. Just going back a second here. Today, Liverpool were supposed to close the goal difference down as well on Arsenal, and that did not happen. We scored 2 goals and had a clean sheet, and they scored 3 goals and conceded 1. So goal difference as was before. I think Liverpool missed an opportunity getting a few more goals on the board.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's just the way they've been playing all season, right? I mean, I don't think that's why some people still think City is theirs to win because of what we just saw, right? Yes, they won 3-1, but it is against a team at the bottom of the table, and they didn't do that until after 70 minutes of football, right? And Arsenal does that, and people look at it and go, well, they waited till late to actually take over this game. And it's
Struggles.
not, and
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't look this. It doesn't feel the same to everybody else when
Because the credibility is not behind it yet. You know what I mean? Until we do it.
No, but
We
this
won't
is
get
coming
that.
off. This is coming off of last season, right? So, it like they talk about experience. And, well, they got experience last season, so it's not like somebody they have not seen before, So, for me, I feel like that is everybody, kind of chalks that off as opposed to like, yeah, no, it's a plus. It's a plus. Um, they know, what we've got 8 more games left. Is that right?
Yep.
8 more games, and what we last 2 seasons, right? The last 8 or 9 games, eight,
Yeah,
9 to
this is
10
where it
games.
happened.
We
Yeah.
know, the team has basically shown us vulnerabilities, and they
Mhm.
know some of the things that they can do to, combat that is to be clinical when they have an opportunity. Make your penalties and stuff like that. Defensively was solid, and we can lean on that. But we still need to score some goals. You can't win. You never can win. You can't win 0-0. It's just not a thing.
They haven't invented that yet. They haven't invented the way of winning on points, like a boxer would. As Gary said, 8 games to go now, Stan, and game 30 last year was the 2-2 draw at Liverpool, and we know what happened there last season. Draw into Man City in bad shape. But here we came into Man City in really good nick with 8 wins in a row. Picked up that critical draw at Man City. We did not park the bus. I don't know who mentioned that in the media, who started that soundbite. It's quite lazy when people hear that. They just want to talk
They're
about
saying
Arsenal in a
they're
bad way.
basically saying it was a snore fest, and
I don't care about that.
It's one of those ones that had it been Liverpool instead of us, and Klopp had played it that way, it would have been a technical masterclass. But because it's
Very
Arsenal,
tactical. Yeah.
it's like not going for it, and Man City
Right.
had the mental fortitude over us before a ball was kicked, and all of this sort of stuff. It's just, but I love it.
So
I don't want their plaudits.
So really does like a good old prediction. So let's have your predictions. I think I'll go the same way. I think I'll go 2-0 Riddy. We will keep them off the scoreboard and we'll score 2 ourselves. Gary, what do you think?
I feel 3-0. If
3-0.
Saka's coming back and if Martinelli's going to get more minutes, I mean, I don't know. What more? I mean, that right there should give us opportunity to score 3 goals easily, I believe.
Yeah.
I
still feel like Martinelli has not given us. We still feel like there's more from Martinelli coming this season, right?
Patchy season.
He hasn't played. I don't think he's played. With those guys enough to get back in the field. So
3-0.
If we're playing with that front line, if it's Havertz or if it's I don't know. It's like, is it Havertz or is it Jesus? Which
You're
one?
You're spoiled by riches, Gary. You're spoiled by the riches of Arsenal.
I miss the Jesus when he first came in, right?
Sure.
Because remember we played Brighton and he was having a really good day, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like I think he had a really good day when he first came in. That it was against Brighton, if I recall. Basically he was on the outside, he was on the inside. I can't remember what the score is.
I remember Leicester City.
Was that Leicester City or is it? I thought it was Brighton. It was a
Leicester
team in blue.
He chipped it. He was.
Is it Everton?
It wasn't Everton. It wasn't Everton. I thought it was. It might have been Leicester, but I knew it was a team in blue. But
4-2. Yeah. Saliba had an own goal that day.
That's right. That's right.
2-0 for me, and we, the crowd got behind Saliba, and we had that. We had the feels last season. This season, we're more mature, and we have that behind us.
Is it at Brighton or at home?
It's at Brighton, and they've only lost 1 game all season, so it will be a huge test then.
They're a very streaky team as well. They've been a bit of a bogey team for us at times, but they are a little bit streaky. They are a little bit streaky. I'm going for an Arsenal win. I'm not going for a loss or a draw, so I'll go for 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah. 3-1. Okay, 3-1, 3-0, 2-0.
Yeah, I want clean sheets.
Clean sheets.
I want clean sheets.
What I'm really missing from an Arsenal game is, when are we going to see a game where, for example, I want to see a game where Martinelli scores 2 goals, not 1, 2. I want to see a game where our striker, whoever's playing through the middle, they score 2 goals, a brace. We've not seen that for a while, and I think we're lacking.
It doesn't feel like a brace, but when we beat Crystal Palace 5-0, Martinelli got 2 goals right at the end. It seemed like training ground goals. You know what I mean? 2 carbon copy goals.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was nice.
We want them to come off with a brace, right?
Yeah.
Like subbed off with a brace
after 65 minutes.
People are complaining that should leave him on so he can get that.
Yes. give him the Foden feels,
right? So that's
when we're talking about team selections, and I'm just going back to the Champions League. I definitely feel that when we're getting now that we're this deep into the Champions League, there's a few players that I think we need to play in these games, and that's Jesus, because he has experience in this competition and he has scored. He seems to be a player that does score goals in that competition. I think Kai Havertz again has scored winners in finals, knows, has experience in the competition. Thomas Partey, again, with Atletico Madrid, has been in the Champions League, probably more recent than a lot of the players in our squad. And if there's another one, I mean, I don't know if there is another one. Is it Zinchenko?
Who did you mention? Did you mention Kai Havertz?
Kai Havertz, Jesus.
He scored the winning goal. Okay,
Thomas Partey.
Partey.
These are all the players that I can
The only way
think
that's
of.
the only way that's
that
going to
have
work for me is if they
been-
play.
You know, they've experienced it. They understand it.
Yeah.
We need those players to help, and they have to play, irrespective of what you think
Jorginho.
about Jesus, for example. You know, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. Yes, sorry, of course, Jorginho as well. That's the missing one.
Got that nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, we were talking about someone like Jorginho. We're saying, "Oh, he can't play so many games in a row." If you've got a Jorginho in your squad and you've got a Brighton game and you've got a Bayern Munich game, you shouldn't have to have coaching badges to understand which is the right decision. There's a reason why you've got a Jorginho, and it isn't to play at fucking Brighton and win. It's to get you into the Champions League because he's of that stature, right? He's of that temperament, and he can do a lot by just being in the squad for those that haven't been there to keep them calm.
Carve up Bayern. He could carve up Bayern.
For me, the only way I see, I mean, I would like to see that, but that to me would mean what? Jesus at the 9 and Havertz at the 8.
What?
Even that doesn't work because where does Jorginho?
Don't have to start, do they? Don't have to start. You could maybe have a Jesus come off the bench for a Havertz if it's not. You know what I mean? But have them, you know what I'm saying? Have them in the squad. You know?
Okay. No, I was thinking like you're talking about our starting 11 because I was like, that doesn't really work if we're thinking like Martinelli and Saka are back, right? You only really have that number 9 spot for Jesus and Havertz, right?
Don't forget Trossard, right?
He's not gonna start for us.
I don't know about that. He played. Didn't he play?
If Saka.
How did you think he did it in Luton?
And Martinelli are healthy. Where is Trossard going to play?
I thought it was quite off it today in Luton, personally. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Again, he's a bit streaky. I like Trossard, but he's a little streaky as well. Again, always seems to be a little bit better coming off the bench rather than starting. I'm not saying that he's had terrible games when he started, but more often than not,
so
with the eye test, he always seems to come off the bench and be able to pick up the pace of the game, make the tempo of the game get a little bit quicker. You know, he's like that bright spark that can come in. That's what it looks like to me.
Michael said, who do you think will finish top scorer? I think it's clear. We have a clear player out in front of everyone. It's Bukayo Saka with 13 goals and 8 assists already. So, yeah, I think Bukayo Saka.
Who's the nearest? Who's the nearest to him?
Erdegaard just got 10.
That's a good question. Gary knows who the nearest one is.
Erdegaard just got 10, and I think we have maybe one more player.
Declan Rice was on 10. If you want to do goals, combined goals and assists. By the way, Stan, Havertz just added an assist.
Odegaard with the games that are left, and we know that Odegaard, you know.
Okay, it's not even what I was thinking.
Being injured notwithstanding, he's going to play every game, right?
Yeah.
He's well on course. You like that, didn't you, Ray? He's well on course.
I always got to work in it.
He could match the 15 goals from the last season, or maybe do better, right? Which was a very good output. He's got 10 now, and there's 8 games.
10 goals.
Yeah, no. I was talking about Erdegaard. Erdegaard has gotten 10 now in
10 goals
combined in all competitions.
All right, so is it 10?
He's the second player to get 10, I think. In all.
Is it 10 goals and assists combined, Gary, or is it 10 goals?
No, 10 goals in all competitions for Erdegaard, but 8. Like they said, Havertz has got 8, and Erdegaard and Trossard have 7.
Misfit's saying that Trossard's got 11.
Trossard, I believe, has 11 in all competitions. Yeah,
not too shabby. That ain't too shabby.
There you go, Stan. Another assist for Havertz last night. So he's getting very close to Granit Xhaka stats from last season.
He surpassed them.
And has Havertz gotten more than 10 goals? Probably not.
No, he's at 9.
He's at 9 goals.
That book is closed. He's surpassed Granit Xhaka. That book is now closed, sealed. It's put away. That's done. He's surpassed that. That's gone now.
Hey, look, I am happy for one.
He's one
away from the 10.
He's one away from the 14 goal contribution. So he still has a little ways to go. He's not there yet, man. Come on,
Harry.
come on. It was 7 and 7.
It's the
Is
cold water. He
what
just
Takes the
poured the
book out
cold
of the
water.
it was.
file,
14 goal
opens the book back up.
contributions. He's one away. That's all right. That's all right. He'll get there.
Granit Xhaka played every minute, though, didn't he? Very true, Michael. But I think Havertz played quite a few minutes as well. He was persevered with. You just made the list.
No, but you know what? That's the thing.
Gary.
Havertz wasn't asked to do the things that Xhaka was, and so for me, my thing is that he was going to come
I
in
don't know.
and put in
What's that?
positions
Maybe he
to
Fuck
was.
off.
score. He was going to be
What's
put
that?
in
Tell everyone
positions
to
to
fuck off.
score more. No.
Crystal
No,
Palace
I
Sorry,
expect Havertz to have more
I
goals
resist
if he's
it.
having a good season. So
couldn't
because
resist it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
no,
think
look,
about it. We lose Xhaka, but now we're at the point where we've got Rice, Jorginho, and Partey. To support that midfield now much better
Rice,
than what we had before.
Jorginho,
You know?
Partey.
Nenny.
El Neni
Right.
is not. No, I've never seen that guy. I barely see him on the team sheets anymore, dude. I'm sorry.
All right, so listen, let's go through into the depth charts and give me your 12th man. So you know
Okay.
what our 11 is, right? So give us,
All right.
and then we got to go to Stan for the
A
13 man.
12th man. We already said it's Trossard, right?
Trossard, okay. This is a bit like where you pick your team as a kid, right?
Well, it all depends. Also, the 12th man depends on what are you doing, offense, defense, right?
Yeah, no, but we're just talking about after you have your first 11, who's your next best player of overall quality? Who are you bringing in next? It can be whatever you want. So, Stan, you get to pick your 12th player, your 13th
Is
player.
Jesus in that 11 or not? I don't know who the 11 is, so I don't know what I'm picking with.
Well, if you believe that Jesus is in your 11,
who's
then
playing?
you pick
I
another
thought
player.
you. Okay. All right. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Based on what you say, then that tells us.
Yeah,
That
then
tells
at
us who your
the
11
moment,
is.
then I would say at the moment I would probably continue with Havertz in that position, which means then that you've got a Jesus, which means he would be a huge contender to come off the bench in one of the first two substitutions,
So
right?
you've got Jesus. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, Gary. He's disappeared. Gary, you were going to get the 14th pick, but I'm going to have to give Stan the 14th pick.
So,
or I can do this if you want.
Yeah, go on. Why not?
I would go with Tomiyasu, Kivior or Tomiyasu.
Well, it all depends. Is Kivior not playing already? Then is he not in your 11?
I would say Tomiyasu, right? Okay.
Because Kivior's playing,
14.
so then you're bringing in
Kivior is playing because he's developed that understanding of winning 8 games in a row. He's been in there for a lot of that, So who you go? All right, Gary, who's your number 15? We've gone Trossard, Jesus, and Tomiyasu.
Ray said Tomiyasu because obviously in his mind he's starting with Kivior, so then he's
Kivior's been playing. Yeah. Just want to see what our depth looks like and we like it. Partey could be a candidate.
Oh, okay. Partey's not starting for us, right? So yeah.
Well, no, is he for you in your pick? Maybe he's already.
Well, you know what? I can only start one, Jorginho or Partey. So Partey's not there yet. So Partey.
Okay. Well, we do have a Jorginho in there as well playing right now. So number 16, Stan. This is just I'm just curious about what we feel about our depth.
Well, for me it would be Jorginho because I'll have Partey playing already. If he's all ready to go and caught up, then yeah, Jorginho for me is another hot candidate you're going to bring into 90 minutes.
I'll give you another pick then, since I didn't.
This doesn't work. Do you know why it doesn't work? Do you know why it doesn't work? Because we've all gone with different. We should have agreed on the starting 11 first, right? Then we could have gone around in order. We could have gone around in order of preference.
No, but think about it. Our starting 11 is the City starting 11 because that's our best 11.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right now, that's our best 11.
Gary picked Partey because Jorginho was already playing, and I picked Jorginho because I already had Partey playing.
No, if I give you a few names, then okay, here we go: Emile Smith-Rowe, Vieira, or Nketiah.
Teabag.
Okay, Vieira over Emile Smith-Rowe.
I'm having teabag because I've got, I've got a conglomerate of foreign investors that are invested into teabag. I can't give any more details than that, but
All right.
it's financial.
Gary, can you think of anyone past? Oh, we got Nelson, Emil Smith Rowe, Nelson.
It's Emil Smith Rowe. I mean, I would like to say Timber, but he's not practicing yet.
He's not there yet. Yeah. Okay.
Ramsdale.
All right. So
Michael's like
listen,
Ramsdale. Cheeky.
So
Goalkeepers don't count.
Can we say we have
Carl
17 good players?
Aye.
Can we say we have 17 good players then? Because we've got Trossard.
We never said we were good. We were just giving out what we've got, and in the order, kind of a weird order. But there's a few in there that I would not even like to be on the bench. Like I tell you what, like, when I saw Eddie and Nketiah come on, I was kind of like, fuck. I don't want Eddie to get a sniff. I don't want Eddie having in the back of his mind, like at the end of the season, and he sits down with his agent, and they say, right, we've got a bid in from Crystal Palace, Bournemouth have been asking questions, and Eddie just goes, you know what? Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay and fight for my place. Oh no, I don't want that because he gets a sniff.
Maybe he's got a Premier League medal.
I don't want him to get any sniffs, so he has any ideas that like the door might be slightly open, and he hangs around and does a Cedric. It's time to cash in.
There's always got to be a Cedric, even if it's a different name player.
Like what? Think about this. If you're Eddie Nketiah and his agent, what are you looking at right now that would lead you to believe that, look, this is a good place for me to stay for my future?
You're behind a few players.
You say the same thing about Cedric.
No, I know, but I'm just, dude.
Shortest meeting ever, wasn't it? So Cedric, what do you fancy doing? He's like, not a lot. It's like meeting over.
Yeah, I'm staying, mate.
No, I just say,
just bought a caravan.
I got a cup of tea waiting for me.
Being 23rd and 24th on the bench, and not even being in.
Just bought a caravan on the Isle of Wight. I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Gary. I mean, Eddie Nketiah he's got to be on his way. Stan. He knows he's behind Trossard. He's behind Havertz. He's behind Jesus. He's behind whoever we're going to bring in. Vieira. Yep, indeed. Are you all excited about Eric Dyer's return? Stan cannot wait for Eric Dyer. And every time Arsenal play those triangles around Eric Dyer, it'll be music.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing as well. So yes, say he starts.
Mm-hmm.
We can't let them off the hook if they feel like he's going to be a weak link, right? So we need to take advantage of that because at some point they will, might see the threat and then go, you know what, and they pull him out and it's too late. We haven't taken advantage of it. So,
do you know what this situation is with Eric Dyer going to Bayern Munich? And this is a wrestling reference to anyone out there that knows their wrestling. Eric Dyer is basically Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Brutus the Barber Beefcake was best friends with Hulk Hogan, and no matter where Hulk Hogan went, Hulk got him a job. He should have stopped wrestling in '93. He was still wrestling in '98. And this is like Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer is Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and Hulk Hogan is Harry Kane. And he's got him a job. It was part of the contract. So Harry wanted to say, but I've got to bring Eric. And they're like, oh, come on.
How about learn German?
No Eric, no Harry. Like,
come with me and learn German with me at Bayern Munich.
Eric the Barber Beefcake.
We had one at Arsenal. It was Kolasinac and Ozil. Everywhere Ozil would go, Kolasinac would follow. But to Gary's point, Bayern Munich at home. I think it's next Tuesday. We got to smell blood in the water. Arsenal have to take advantage of that. The Bayern fans are not allowed to travel because of flares. They're banned from traveling. So Arsenal need to make
their jeans.
Their jeans.
Yeah, you said they're flares.
They're flares, yeah.
Oh, they're banned from wearing flares or something. Okay.
They threw flares. Yes. I got you.
Threw jeans onto the pitch. Okay. Strange.
It was a Tom Jones concert. We digress. Bayern Munich. We need to score a decent amount of goals so that away leg. Look at that schedule. We would like a Bayern Munich game away from home to be a spot in our schedule where we could take a break. You know what I mean? Take a break in our season and mail in a result. Within 0.3 seconds of clicking on our site, I hear Eric the Barber Beefcake. Hello, everyone. Mr. Tom is here. Have you released Tony yet, Mr. Tom?
You released him. Have you released Tony?
From your custody, from your vile clutches.
I've got images of Tony like an escort, like leaving a hotel room and then leaning up against the door, cigarette, counting the money, shaking
Money on the counter.
going off to his next appointment.
The money's on the table, Tony. Get out.
That doesn't. You know what? Stop. I'm trying to drink my beer. All right, no. Take that back. Rewind and delete.
He does it for free. He's not getting paid, Stan.
No. Stop. Leave it. No. Oh my gosh. Oh,
all right, Gary. Take us in the new direction, Gary.
Oh, come on.
Take us in the new direction, Gary.
How is it that Tony manages to wreck every show even when he's not here?
I know, you brought him up and then it just went like.
Mr. Tom, at least I hope you at least fed him, give him some food. Did you get room service?
Oh, see, this is no. Please. Oh.
All right, Gary. Can you change the topic?
Even when
Gary?
he's not here, the spectre of Tony looms large.
Yes.
It's just really,
Ipswich. So I don't know why Moss put Ipswich in there. So
I don't know, but
all right, Gary.
It feels appropriate.
Champions League, Gary.
Yeah.
It feels like an open competition to us. The more you're looking at Man City, and they may reawaken. I feel they're missing players like Mahrez and Gundogan, who moved on last season, and they haven't adequately replaced those players. They got Kovacic, they got Doku, Stan's still laughing. They got Nunez, maybe Alvarez. Have they adequately replaced? Have Man City adequately replaced the Warriors that they had last season?
No, they haven't. Like one to one. No, they haven't. But Foden has been showing up of late.
Yeah.
So and it all depends on if they decide to let him. If they decide to let him take the reins a little bit, right? Give him some opportunities, like when KDB plays, he seems to get put in a position that's not beneficial to the squad, right? So at some point,
I'm laughing about it because you mentioned KDB, and my nephew is quite disappointed in Kevin De Bruyne. He thinks he's finished.
No, he's getting old, man. He's getting old.
Do you think, in some ways, when I look at Man City and the struggle we had with them last season, Gary, they put everything into asserting their dominance last season. They were the team who could go to the well and impose themselves on Arsenal, who were not quite mature enough yet last season to finish the job. I think we're looking at it this season, Gary, and Man City are a year older in a bad way because they've gotten older, and Arsenal are a year older because they've become more seasoned and more mature.
Yep.
Yep. And we're seeing. I think somebody mentioned it, Reddy or BX. Imagine a Declan Rice going to Man City. I think the league might be wrapped up by now if Declan Rice had turned up at Man City. We wouldn't be a point or two off of Liverpool, and City would be off in the distance probably. But Man City, have not acquired the right kind of players to continue their success. Stan has composed himself now, while Arsenal have brought in Kai Havertz, case closed. He's done well this season. David Raya, a huge blip in the season when he replaced Ramsdale, and Declan
Made 2
Rice.
penalties, case closed.
2 penalties, case closed, saved them. So we'll feel confident going into if there's any more penalties to be taken in the Champions League. And then Declan Rice, we're extracting every penny of that 105 million transfer fee. I've always looked at Declan Rice through the years and thought he'd end up at Chelsea, but things have conspired. That wheel that Stan talked about, Chelsea's orbit went away and Arsenal's orbit came toward Declan Rice, where we were beneficial.
Also, as well, I mean, it was so good that we paid so much money, 105 million all in all for Declan Rice, which, you know, people can talk about. So it's so good of Chelsea to go out and take the heat off us and pay 115 for Caicedo, and people can talk about that now. Is it working out? Why is it working out? Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Declan Rice is every week, he does his job, makes a contribution, and you can see the quality of the way that he's added to our team. You can see it. It's visible. It's very visible.
Yep. Nuggets on. Go KSC, win the division. Yeah, I love KSC. I've won in every other venture that they've gone into. So it's Arsenal's turn.
Piece.
It's Arsenal's missing piece in the crown jewel, right? You know.
Yep. You know, the thing is, we needed that player. You know, Rice is that player. Like if you look at the other teams, they've always got that one big player. I mean, Denver, they've got the
Jokic.
Not Jokic. Is that his name?
The Nuggets. Yeah.
They've got Jokic. Yeah, like he's, you know, considered one of the top players in NBA, right? And you know, Rice. I don't know. I think it's Rice is our like top player in the league, right? I think Erdegaard is coming on and stuff like that, but I think Rice has.
Didn't he win an award recently or something like best player in London or best player in the Premier League or something?
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, that was the same awards that gave Ange the best coach in London, best manager in London.
Didn't he win Premier League player as well or something like that?
I think so.
Or did I dream that?
I remember. No, you didn't dream it. You know.
Okay, that's not bad, is it?
This is not being a dream.
Declan should take the pieces. So,
what do you think of Declan Rice at set pieces? I think obviously the stats speak for themselves in some ways. I think it's 18 or something now. Goals that have contributed from set pieces. So, Declan Rice at set pieces. It stands. The results are there to be seen. You know.
Well, it's nice that at set pieces we've got variety now. It's not just one person all the time. There's a little bit of variety, different options, depending on where the ball is. Odegaard's not bad at a dead ball situation on a free kick. Do you know what I
mean? You know what? It just strikes me now. We never really have seen Arsenal with too many direct free kicks. I can't remember Arsenal getting a direct free kick.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been a while. It feels like it's been.
I just don't think teams get an opportunity to foul us when we're in those type of in those areas. If you look at us when we start getting close to that 18-yard mark, right?
Yeah.
We're like really, we're always in good positions, and like, you know, there's always the spacing is perfect. There's always a run that we can make towards the goal. Like, there's barely ever a time when they've got us beat to the spot. You know, we just don't make that.
Or we're already in the box, and then they go for it, and then it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting back, right? They're sitting back, and sometimes we get that horseshoe of despair thing going on, where we got like the horseshoe going around, and
So you're saying that the lack of free kicks that we don't get is because of our fluid attack and teams sitting back in a low block. That makes sense, you know. Whereas a lot of other teams get those direct free kicks, we don't. Might not be a bad thing because we do, and we're able to move the ball very well as well, and we do attack the fullbacks probably more than the central areas of the field. Um,
That's
what
why we need. That's why I'm saying we kind of need the Partey to get back to get back basically because
get back.
he will play through the middle, and then that'll open things up there. So yeah, looking
Yeah,
forward to
so
that.
Partey could actually add some of that to our game as well. It's very different. It's very interesting how and Mikel Arteta's become very good at this, I believe. You insert a player here and there in a position here and there to get the desired effect against the opposition you're coming up against. What I like about let's say the home games, we should really be winning all of our home games. Aston Villa will be the next one in the league, then Chelsea, and then Bournemouth, and finally Everton on the last
And those
day
are
of
the
the
games
season.
that like our squad needs to be playing in those ones, so that when we go away, right? Because all of our away games are
Tough.
pretty tough. Like there's not one like you look at that list. What away game do you go?
Easy. No.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Nothing's easy.
And
Yeah.
the home game the home games are early in the season, right? So toward like we might kill ourselves getting through getting to that game against that
Quarterfinal.
team, right? No, the
Oh,
game against that team. And in the
okay.
last three games, we're like, you know,
Two of them are home.
and if we're able to beat Bayern, then there's going to be what games against either City or Real Madrid. So,
Yeah.
probably not some, still. So I think we got this run of what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games right now that we need to get through, right? And if we can get through it unscathed, we set ourselves up pretty well,
Yeah.
right?
Those
Yeah,
7 games will lead up
I
to
mean,
a
I
semi-final.
know United is a tough game, but I think when you've gone through that gauntlet that we have there,
What I do like about this,
right?
Larry and Stan, is look at the away games, and I think they get progressively more difficult as you go through them. Okay, so Brighton is going to be a tough away game, but they're not playing very well right now. Wolves is going to be a very dangerous. Wolves are going to be a very dangerous team because
Let's
they
let's put
will.
let's put the question a different way. Do you think between now and the end of the season, Arsenal will drop points?
I think we would. I think you have to say we will drop points somewhere. Now, will it be just 2 points with a draw? I think that may be the case, and I think it's got to be the case.
You like two
And I
draws?
think one draw. I think right now if we win all of our games, then we can get 92 points. But I think this league will be won on 90 or 89 points. If I'm being honest, I think Liverpool will drop points. I can't put my hand on heart and say City are going to drop points, but you'd have to think they would have a draw somewhere as well along the line, and they have to play. Everybody has to play Tottenham. Liverpool have to play Tottenham. We have to play Tottenham, and Man City have to play Tottenham as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, for people for those teams to get to that 90 mark, right? That means Liverpool has to get 20 out of 24, right?
Yep.
Arsenal has to get 22 out of 24,
Mm-hmm.
and City has to get, but you can't even. They have to get 24. They have to go undefeated, win every game.
So to get to 90 points, City have to win every game.
Yep.
Okay.
Because they can't, yes, or else they get an 89 if they draw. So they get 91 or 84.
We're on Liverpool are on 70 right now, aren't they?
Yep.
We're on 68 and they're on 67. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Who hits 90 first, right?
Yeah.
Who hits 90 first? I mean, we can only the max we can get is 92. So,
And I think the most difficult games are obviously at White Hart Lane and at Old Trafford. Fair. Although you look at Man United and they are really bad, you know. So
The problem is that both
Villa.
Chelsea and Manchester United have shown that
at home, though,
they will play up for certain games. So it's not so they
we'll see on Sunday,
that might be
right?
their last home game
Yeah,
of the season, right? So that will be
will be. Yeah.
so yeah. So with that in mind, they're gonna want to go out winning at home. So
Or the other thing, Gary, is they beat Coventry in their semi-final, and they have their mind on an FA Cup final
yeah, but
against
this is the
City.
last game at home. It's
I
still the
know,
last game at home.
but
So
there's an FA Cup
that's
final before after
but it's
that.
still the last game at home. You still don't want to. You don't. It's still the last game at home.
But Gary,
We've done
those
we've
players want to play in the FA Cup final. They're
And
not
it's
going to put
also a game
their
against a team that if you beat them, you can knock them out. But
yeah
some people say hopefully they are looking forward to the next game, and you know what? They're not too
Liverpool.
concerned, and
Yeah.
they allow us to. They don't play as good as they have against some of the big teams that they've played. So
So Gary, for Arsenal, 7 draws and not 7 draws, 7 wins and a draw would give us 22 points, and that would be 90, 90
yep,
points. You know,
yep.
and you hit 90 is going to be it's going to be a good team that gets more than 90. Man City can only get 90 now. Is that what you're saying?
No,
They
they
have
can either get 89 or 91.
okay,
So
which is it?
as
okay.
far as getting close to that 90 mark.
91. They can get
So
91
if they lose,
or draw.
they won't get to 90.
Okay. And Liverpool, we're hoping they're going to drop some points as well. Stan, what do you think? Can we win all of these games in the league? Do you think
I
we'll
don't know.
drop one?
I think it's a big ask.
Yeah, it is.
My thing is, I want
Big
I
ask.
want one of those other teams to be that first team to lose.
Yes. Drop points. Yes.
So that's kind of like that's why we just got to win every game because I want to see what what happens when those other teams lose.
As
Because
somebody
I
said,
think that's going to be the key. I think that's going to be the key. Who actually gets surprised and loses a game? All right.
mhm, they dare not lose games. Liverpool, City, or Arsenal dare not lose any games. I think the absolute importance of not being able to drop a game is going to drive all three of these teams forward as to where we get to the last weekend. And the last weekend, I think all
Yeah.
three teams could be in with a shout.
I'll take I'll take Rodri blow up for 1,000, Alex. That's what I'll do.
A red card
But
somewhere.
it's not really even really Rodri, right? It's like who in City can not City but Liverpool can affect them the most. Is it McAllister?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't expect Van Dijk to do anything silly, and Salah to do anything silly.
Well,
So it's
in
really
saying that, I see clips of Van Dijk grabbing the neck of a player and pushing him down to the ground, and the
and nothing happened, right? So
referee
yeah,
took no action.
so I think he's all right. He's got money in the
Yeah.
bank.
Yeah, Van Dijk's going to be okay. Brighton away from home is difficult. Wolves away from home will be more difficult. Tottenham team will be all out to try and do something against us, and Man United will try something similar as well. Second last game in the season. You look at those teams though, and you feel we are a few levels above each and every one of those teams. And if we're at it for those next 8 games, we could possibly at least get 22 points, if not 24. But it's got to go, like you said at the start of the podcast, Gary and Stan, game by game. Take it one game at a time, methodically go forward. And playing Luton Town with the ease that we got that win was nice. I did see some people being nervous. We didn't add to the scoreline in the second half, but we got the win. And the most important thing right now at this stage of the season is, first of all, 3 points, and then secondary to that would be trying to get some goal difference separation as well. What a crazy game that United Chelsea game was. Indeed, everybody switched off at various points, thinking Chelsea were winning, then Man United were winning, and then Chelsea were winning at the end. And just shows, Michael, how bad both of those teams are.
Chelsea fans that left before the end.
They missed the moment there. The celebration police have been deployed to that ground in the aftermath of that win. By
No,
Chelsea.
I'm just looking at it, and like the last three matches for Liverpool are pretty
Villa.
tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we got that team, Villa and Wolves.
Yep.
I know two of them at home, but
Aston Villa.
they could be tough games. Whereas we got Bournemouth at home and then away to United and then home to Everton. Not as challenging. And City has Fulham, West Ham, and that team. So that team could have a say. Like say, because we played them the week before, right? So that fourth to last game. Say we go in there and we actually, are able to get that win against them. They're not going to want to lose to the next two teams, the big teams that they play, because they're playing. That could be 3 losses out of 4 to finish off their season.
Yeah.
So
they could back out of a top 4 spot as well, Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
And if Man United somehow get good and get some results, it's going to be very important. The race for top 4 is going to be really important in relation to Arsenal, the City, and Liverpool, because Liverpool have to face Unai Emery. Imagine Liverpool going to Aston Villa. Unai Emery could do us a favor on the second last weekend of the season. It's going to be
that's why I kind of feel to some degree, at least with Liverpool, we have much, I like to think better games games that are more winnable in those last 3 than they do. I mean, all 3 of theirs are pretty tough. Manchester United is playing poorly, but on their day they will show up sometimes.
Yeah.
But So like I said, we got our next one is Brighton away. We win that one, and then we see what happens next.
Yeah, the situation with Brighton, I feel, and we'll stay only a few more minutes, probably 10 more minutes here.
Mm-hmm.
The situation with Brighton is, I feel they've been that club who have identified young players around the world, brought them in, shined them up a little bit, and then sold them for a huge profit. And they sold McAllister and Caicedo for huge profits.
Mm-hmm.
And De Zerbi's getting a little bit irritated there at Brighton because he must have known what he was going into when he took that job. Brighton, a team who are going to sell their best players each and every year, and they've been struggling, I think, recently. This season,
Ferguson will probably be the next one, and probably Matoma. That's how they seem to operate. They find these gems for low fees.
Ferguson wasn't even on the bench the last game, so I think he might be injured or something. So, if they lose him for big money, that's for a player that didn't even play much for them this year.
I've not heard much from Matoma. He had like a big reputation earlier in the season.
Yeah, he wasn't. I don't even think he was on the bench either. So I think they've had, they've lost players, and then they've had injuries with some of their top talented players. So they've been.
They've got another one. There's another player, but I can't remember what his name is. He's like a winger. I think it's something like
Adringa.
No.
Yes. No. I can't remember what his name is. He's a young lad. Scored against us. I can't remember what his name is. He's another one. That's he's like a Garnacho. He's a young guy. I can't remember what his name is.
Ciso?
Him. Yeah, him.
Mm-hmm. Ciso.
Him. He's another one that looks like it could be, he could come good. And they got another defensive player called Estepinian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's another one.
He didn't play last game, so like I said, I think either they've got they've just had they've lost players, but then they've had injuries to some of their important players. You named Matoma and Ferguson, they weren't even on the bench, so even if they come back, I kind of like to feel like,
He's free.
oh my gosh.
He's free.
All
I've
right,
heard
all
some.
right. You know what, Tony?
woman.
The show's over. The show's over. You might as well.
We
might as
got
well-
Pretty
7
woman's in the
minutes.
house.
7 minutes.
I heard somebody was talking about me.
Talking shit about you.
Everybody's
Yes,
talking about
exactly.
you,
Julia
Tony.
Roberts.
I talk about you all the time, man.
Would Ferguson be an Arsenal type of player? Not at the price that they want for him. And Ferguson needs to be better as well.
Yeah, but these are the going rates, aren't they? These seems to be the
Yeah.
going rates now. I mean, it seems to be on average now. If you're buying a player, it's going to be around about. It's not going to be less than 65 if they're decent. 80 seems to be like a ballpark big figure for a lot of people. Look at Anthony,
Tony
Harry
Bloom.
Maguire.
Yeah,
These players cost 80 million. I mean,
crazy.
you know, I brought him up earlier. Caicedo, Mudryk,
But
Enzo.
it's so.
Enzo's not too bad, but
it's-
you know, is he worth that much?
Stan,
Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Sorry,
Stan, you know what's crazy though? Is
Yes.
like we went to COVID and like these teams
Oh,
weren't making
come
money.
on, dude. Do we have to go
No.
back that far? For
No,
us to
let
I'm
be
him
able
saying-
to
let him
be-
have his moments.
No, I'm saying we went from like these short. The transfer went down, the amount of them, but as soon as everything came back, it went through the fucking roof. Who think Arsenal would pay 110 million for a fucking midfielder?
I honestly
best
believe that the
midfielder,
beginning of all of that, I think it's the Jack Grealish transfer. Jack Grealish for
Yeah.
100 million was the beginning
Yeah.
of it. That set a benchmark. People are like, okay, then, all right. Well, we got a tricky winger that we can sell, and if Jack Grealish is going for X, then our guy's going for fucking Y. Do you know
So
what I mean?
what do you guys
Yeah.
feel about luxury tax in Premier League football?
Are they talking about it or doing it? Or
No, they're talking about it. Supposedly, it's on the table as far as people talking about it, like
Is
in the league.
it's been on the table about 15 times, Gary, and 15
No, it's
times
back
it
on.
hasn't
It's
happened.
back on there again.
What
It's
is?
on the table.
Luxury instead of having fair play in the Premier League, they just have luxury tax.
Luxury.
But
What is the luxury
a big
tax?
caveat to that.
Would that be
A
like-
big caveat to that was that how in the world can you have luxury tax in the Premier League and financial fair play in whatever it's called in Europe, right? UEFA. Like it doesn't work. Like you could
No.
like spend all that money and then still be in a Champions League. You would be punished
because
for it.
it
The
would
luxury
be-
tax basically means that you can pay whatever you want for your
Can
players.
I explain it, Gary?
You just have to pay a fee when you hit a certain amount based on I don't know what the value is, but you can buy your players for whatever, but then you pay a fee if it hits a certain
Appearances?
mark. No, the amount of money you spend. It's all based on the amount of money you spend.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the NBA does, right? They have a minimum money that you have to pay your players. Then there are maximum you can play it, and if you go over, you go into the luxury tax. They're like each team. Last time I knew, is about 95 or 97 million would be their rate. How much they had to pay their 15 players. So divided up.
Wages, Tony.
Yeah,
Right?
the wages.
Okay.
So I don't know how the Premier League's gonna do that. To me,
So
that's the logical. That's the
almost
best
like a
money
cap.
because that's revenue. It's based on revenue
Yeah.
of the entire league, and you split it down the middle. You give players big contracts. Everybody's happy. I don't think what agents make fucking $30 million a fucking trade or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No
not,
more.
a cap. It's not a cap because a cap that's all you can spend.
Okay.
It's basically there's a
What is
dollar.
it bringing?
There's a monetary amount that all teams
Right.
can pay, and if they pay over that, then they have to pay a fine.
Would it be, Gary? Would it be bringing wages under more control? Right? Is that
No, because
No?
a team like City, a team like Newcastle, who
Well-
can spend a lot of money, will just
We
pay
have
the
just
fine.
as much money as City
Okay.
does. Let's
No,
not
no,
forget
but
that.
it's like no. The question was, will minimize the salaries? And the answer is not for some.
Not for some. Okay.
Like City,
Is it an
Newcastle
attempt?
can spend a lot more money than Arsenal.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. They're restricted right now, right? That's why Newcastle's in a situation they are now.
Well,
Because they can't afford this, they can't spend that money. They just can't, right?
Would it have tiers like the NBA does, Gary, where you spend this much money and you pay like an extra? I think does it start at 50%? I mean, it's a pretty hefty fine when you go over it.
It's a lot.
And let's remember the City they have charges against them. Let's just say that.
Well, that's the other part, and I posed this on Twitter.
But
so if they are going to do this, are they still going to go after City? And or are they just going to? No, that's the question is, will they, or will they just go? You just grandfathered in, and it doesn't matter anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? No, you say no, but you have no authority on what can happen.
I have a question.
No authority.
I don't like it. That stinks, Gary. That stinks. I don't like it.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the really worst grievance that City's really done? Have they done something really worth getting?
I feel like they have paid their players exorbitant wages beyond the income, the real income that is coming into the club.
You don't think we did the same fucking thing with Ozil and Obama?
No, we didn't do the same thing. We lived within a meal.
You're talking about
one player.
How are we living? You're talking about one player when they're talking about 5 to 10 players.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even on the same.
Holland's getting like 900,000 a week.
I don't think it's the same. Like when you can't compare. You just
yes, we can.
2 players over the course of how many years, right? It's not the same.
Let me tell you, Gary.
And it was Aubameyang basically took Ozil's wages. It wasn't the same time they were getting paid that amount as well. Tony, go.
You go back, and since 2012 up until 2 years ago, Arsenal made a profit on 2 players.
Yes.
That was over like a.
You mean sales?
8-year period. They made more money selling the player than what they paid for.
Okay, but the revenue is not just based on sales and income.
I know all that, Ray, but I'm saying we weren't bringing in any money.
He knows all that, right?
And at the time, Kroenke wasn't spending it. Until this new dandy little new format for the Champions League came out, which the big clubs are like, oh, we're not threatening UEFA with this league that we're really not gonna do, but we're gonna get almost everything we asked for. We're gonna get 40% of the TV money
revenue,
and all that shit.
Yeah.
So the new fucking goddamn Champions League next year, you know what it is? It's the fucking Super League, but it doesn't have permanent members. Only difference. Same fucking thing.
Yes, I agree with you, Tony.
No, but I mean,
I love how animated you get about it.
City spends 20% more on their salaries than we do. You think that doesn't help them?
And they were never a traditional
club. You think 20% more in salaries? Do you think that helps City?
Yeah, but Gary, we had ridiculous
20%. You don't think it helps them at all?
Yes.
Tony, you don't think it helps them? You think, it doesn't help them at all?
We've been paying Eddie Nketiah. We were paying him 70 grand.
It doesn't matter, but they're still spending 20% more.
We're giving Obama 400 grand.
No, not right now. We're not.
Plus 20.
Not today. Not today.
Plus 40K. Plus 40K for a fucking goal. Come on.
Yeah.
Today.
We were hemorrhaging money paying these players. That's why we weren't bringing in any players.
Tony.
And now we have this new financial play system that again we can't compete with it because we weren't having the income. Now we have the 91 million from Champions League, so now we can go buy more players.
And Tony, even when we had Aubameyang on our squad,
And they all lived
it
happily
was
ever
it was
after.
it was 13 million difference. So it's actually it's doubled now since Aubameyang has been here. It's doubled what they
Yeah.
pay more than their players.
And-
So, and you're saying it doesn't really help them. I think the other way around. So you know.
Brownie's challenging what you're saying, Tony. But anyway, that's Brownie. Listen, Man City.
Don't worry, Brian. I got
Sorry,
him.
Brownie.
You know what?
Sorry, Brownie.
Ray's not.
Wah.
Yeah, no, Tony's trying, but it's not working.
That Brownie, I'm available for your shoes.
I'm just saying, Brownie,
Oh,
you
really?
talk different kind of bollocks
Yeah,
that
I know.
Tony talks, but it's still bollocks sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, Man City were Arsenal have been a traditional top 6 team forever. Man City arrived with these wages, with these riches, and
do you know what's been true the last?
I don't know how City could have paid and be within their means over the last 8, 7, 8
Do you
years.
know what's been true since the mid '90s, Ray?
What's that?
That Arsenal had top 4 revenue
For 22 years.
for the whole fucking time that we've been in the top 4. We've never been out of the top 4.
Yep.
We might be 5 now with Newcastle in there. It's fucking insane. Why? I know, Stan, your family has the Newcastle ties and stuff. But how fucking ridiculous
this going?
is it? No, how ridiculous is it?
I'm
that
sorry you
the-
had the Newcastle ties, but
No, but how ridiculous really is it that Newcastle, their ownership group is $400 billion, which equals 80% of the entire wealth of all the owners of the Premier League. That's 8/10 of a pie. You're getting just a little fucking sliver. That's one
you
team.
thought you were
has that
looking
much-
at you're looking at Newcastle and saying because of the riches
Yeah,
of the
it's the same thing because it's the same fucking
but
thing.
they're not allowed to spend all of that, Tony.
Let me finish, Ray.
Why shouldn't
This
they?
summer, this summer, Ray, what did we have? We had an invasion. We had an invasion of. It was
Invasion.
only 4. We had an
Potatoes.
invasion. We had an invasion of 4 Saudi clubs. That is by the Saudi General Wealth Fund, whatever the fuck it's called, where they're 400 million.
What foresight?
It's 400 billion. I don't know. There are 4 teams. I've sent you the link one time on ESPN. You can look it up. But there are 4 teams that are owned by. There are 4 teams that are owned by
Can I have
that
a
fund.
pretzel? Can I have a pretzel? Stan. Thanks.
But those 4
Pass it up.
teams. But those 4 teams are the ones that were spending all those.
What the world? Where are you going?
I'm saying those 4 teams are the one that was spending.
I
those
can't
ridiculous,
see where I'm going. I'm getting a little confused.
Yeah,
I actually
Let me
go
finish.
home, and you're
Let me
not going.
finish.
This is not how I get home.
Let me finish. They were spending all that money. The 4 fucking teams in Saudi were spending all that money because the Saudi fund was in it. And I'm saying the Premier League let that happen there with Newcastle that has 80% of the wealth of a league.
Where are
That's
you
nuts.
going with this?
And you
Willis?
and almost every other motherfucker brings up fucking City, which if you add both Kroenke's wealth, the Walmart and his money, they're equal to how much Man City's owned. And again, we've been in the top 4. So we are like Man City. We've been that way for a while.
We are not
We just
Man
weren't
City,
spending.
Tony.
We weren't spending. Oh, we weren't. How
I
much have
just
we
told
spent
you
the last?
they spend 20% more than we do on salaries, Tony. We're not the same.
Because we got 20 fucking players,
Newcastle's
Gary.
revenue is nowhere close to any of the big 6. That's the problem. They need more revenue. They need a bigger stadium. They need more sponsorship deals. Who's putting money into Newcastle like City? Like City is, right? Supposedly City has these sponsorships, right? That's the deal, right? Part of their
Well,
sponsorships are there's some question about them. Are they real?
yeah,
Right? Are they real? Are they real
hedge funds.
sponsorships,
Yeah.
or are they what you just said? Money coming in from the club, but underneath the table. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'll tell
But
you what
is
I'll tell you what I've taken umbrage with this conversation, to be fair, and that's Alonso cursing while having a go at Tony for cursing.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Alonso goes
But it's
after
okay if
Tony.
you
Tony,
if
why
you
you say it?
He
abbreviate
loves
it.
to go after
It's
Tony.
okay.
I
If
tell
you
step back.
abbreviate it,
You don't want none of Tony, Lonzo.
yeah.
Lonzo,
You don't want
don't
that
step
heat,
to Tony.
Alonso.
Don't step to Tony because when he stands up, he falls down.
I know.
No, he doesn't. Before the Saudis take over City or crap. Look, yeah, if you abbreviate your cursing, it's okay, Stan.
Okay.
If you abbreviate
Oh,
your cursing, it's
yeah.
all right.
As in FFS, Gary.
Okay. Well, in that case, then I'll
That's for
see you.
fuck's sake.
In that case, then I will see you next Tuesday.
Get me. Listen, we're
Tony, I don't know where you went with that,
Randy.
but it didn't
We're
get you.
closing.
No,
But
but
closing
I'm
up.
Newcastle's not a good example.
I'm saying that we're in the same tree. We're hanging out. We've been in this
No.
top four of the
We're
money.
not the same
We're
as
not the
City
same as City.
because we can't afford to spend the money on the players that they do. We
What
know
what
this.
have they done that
What?
is so atrocious for them to be put down a league or docked 20
All right,
points or whatever?
Tony, how did City become the biggest club in the world then? In the last
Be-
10 years.
Because they had a good investment of money. They had a manager that's very good with top talent. He's also good at introducing youth players. He's won the Champions League in 4 goddamn countries. So that's part of it. They were
It's all about the manager.
that they were well managed. The club was well managed. They had the football minds there. We still don't have the football minds there. Our board sucks. We're a board member short. We've never added one since one's left. So you sit there. Actually, there are 2 empty boards.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
But my point is like
Eventually, at last,
I said,
tell us.
if you combine, like I said, if you combine McConaughey's wealth, which it's KSC, she actually owns the Nuggets, or she used to own the Nuggets.
Well,
That was her baby.
he doesn't talk to her. They don't communicate.
He's only won the Champions League in two
One
cities.
time. Yeah. I won it at Barca, right? Barca
Yeah,
and
and
City.
City. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Not 4.
He's
Not
won
4
fucking.
cities.
Okay, he's won the fucking league in 4 countries. That's
No,
where
now you're changing the goalpost on us.
Well,
Yeah.
that's where I meant to go.
But he hasn't
All
won
right.
it in. He hasn't won it in 4.
He has won 4.
He's only coached 3 teams.
Stan, if you wanted to send Brownie the link, go ahead and do it.
I've got to go.
Yeah, me too.
He's only coached 3 teams.
Sorry,
Tony, so
Brownie. Next
he
time.
doesn't.
Brownie
He
on his
hasn't won
own.
it in 4 different cities.
Brownie and Tony in extra time would be.
There we go.
dangerous.
Stephen, the voice of reason here. Listen, Stephen's very even keeled here. Sorry, Tony, but we are nowhere near as wealthy as City. They are owned by the country of Qatar. No matter what they claim, and Arsenal have no access to the Walmart fortune, and we have to live within our means. So, with that being said, I'm going to let Stan get out of here. Gary, get out of here. Tony and I will probably stay back and talk a little bit more about this, but thanks, Tony. Any quick words about what's been going on with Arsenal? Keep it to 1 minute, and we'll get out of here.
Keep it to 1 minute. You're so funny.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it really quick.
Right.
I thought you said you're gonna keep it real.
Keep it real.
It took Arteta 4 fucking seasons playing one of the worst teams that's ever been in the Premier League to manage players. Congratulations, Arteta.
Why does everybody compare Arteta's
Wow.
first 4 years as a manager to everybody else's 10th, 11th,
Can you
12th,
believe that?
20th year?
All right.
It's not the same.
We're out of
The
here, but it
comparisons are
is
terrible.
the
No.
4th of April, 2024. That has been the show. You've just made the list, Tony. I can see Stan snapping his pen.
Yeah,
There-
write him down. He's been really.
Hey,
There-
it's been Gary. You've been the ruckus.
There-
man.
I've been cleaning up the mess.
There are
There's been a lot
people.
of mess out here today, and I'm just
I've
cleaning
heard
it up.
I've heard a lot what you said when I wasn't around, Gary. And
There are a lot of people
Tony, I'll
out
say
there.
it to your face.
There are a lot of
I'm not
people out
scared of
there
you.
who are still criticizing Mikel Arteta, and we are very close to being top of the league, very close to winning the best trophies.
but do you know why, Ray?
Why? Keep it to 10 seconds.
It's because of this championship format. They wanted to be in it, so they spent the fucking money to be in it.
Okay.
And if you don't think we could be here, if we
Tony,
gave
Tony,
one more-
you need to get away from Tom to get onto these shows earlier so we can have these conversations next Thursday.
I'm sorry, we don't have a 40th year anniversary of WrestleMania too often, right?
40-year anniversary.
There's
Are you
always
still
something
be
going
up
on
for
with
a
this
40-year
wrestling.
anniversary?
So,
All right.
so can I go back to what I was?
No,
saying?
we're
You
closing
weren't
the
even
show.
talking about
We're closing
WrestleMania
the
for the whole
show.
show. Stop it.
All right, everybody have a great weekend. Stan, you got to go or else you'll get divorced again.
Good night, Tony.
Hopefully there's no crows staring at you from the trees out there. Or that's been resolved. Gary, thanks for joining me and enduring Tony for the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Tony.
you told me he wasn't coming on.
Yeah, I did tell you he wasn't coming on. I thought Tom would keep him apprehended for a lot longer than this.
He didn't do his job well. He knows.
All right.
Tony was a super sub.
Say good night, Tony. Say good night,
Tony.
super sub Tony. We'll see you Sunday. Hopefully, Arsenal are top of the league on Sunday. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, as always.